You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I have consistently tried to explain to all of you the importance of black media, trying to explain to you why we must stand firm when it comes to demanding the dollars to ensure that we are able to survive and thrive. Well, today, Wendell Pierce, the actor, who also owns the historic radio station in New Orleans, tweeted this out today that speaks to that very issue. He says, "Today we launched the Black-Owned Media Coalition at the New Orleans City Council. As an owner of Equity Media LLC, WBOK 1230 AM radio station, we join other coalition members, Data News Weekly, the New Orleans Tribune, and the Louisiana Weekly." Now, do we have other tweets, folks? If we have it, go ahead and roll that. There were about 10 tweets that he actually posted of what these black media outlets wanted to do, and that is to challenge businesses in New Orleans that make their money from black people to actually reinvest in African Americans. Why is that important? Because what is the point of black folks spending our dollars, making other folks rich, and they in turn not reinvesting in the black community? Joining us right now is Wendell Pierce. He's, of course, part owner of Equity Media LLC. Wendell, glad to have you here. This was something that I had tweeted out a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I tweeted out. I posted it on my Instagram page, and there were a couple of items that I posted. One of them that I said was that folk in America have been able to monetize black culture except black people. All of these people out here who launch these media companies that are black targeted, but they're not black owned. But another point that I had made that people they thought I was playing, they thought I was joking, was when I said that, and this is what I posted. Go to my iPad. I said, "It's a trip to be a black-owned media company, and you demand fair share of advertising with the metrics to prove the reach, and folks want to say you're sticking them up. Nah, y'all just not used to a black media CEO making it clear he won't accept crumbs. I'm coming in 2021. When I saw your tweet, that's exactly what that said.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Roland. We are exercising our right of self-determination. Too many companies in this country are becoming wealthy and have built their success on pulling dollars out of the black community, and at the same time, they don't do business with black media companies out of those same communities. And here in New Orleans, I decided with my partners at Equity Media, we own WBOK 1230 AM, which is a legacy radio station, talk radio station. And we joined with the other black media owners here to go to the city council, to the utilities committee, which regulates companies like Entergy, AT&T, the Sewage and Water Board here, Regional Transit Authority, companies that basically have the monopoly, the contracts to do business solely in the area without competition. But they aren't required to do any business in the black community. And New Orleans is 65% black, and that was unacceptable. What was the epiphany for us was a couple of weeks ago, Donald Rouse, who was the founder of Rouse's grocery store, had gone to Washington, D.C. and participated in the rally that led to the American insurrection. He came by request. He asked us to come on our radio station to apologize to the African-American community. He said that he didn't know he was in the middle of an insurrection. He didn't know what insurrection was about. He didn't feel as though he was complicit, and I explained to him that there was some complicity there. But what I realized was, in the 30-year history of Rouse's grocery store, one of the most successful businesses here in our region, he had never done any business with black media. That his success was built on the dollars from the African-American community, but he had done no business with African-American business owners. So we realized that that was the canary in the mine. That was the moment where we said we have to call all businesses, regulated and unregulated, in the New Orleans area to task and say that if you make a business decision that you don't do business with us, we can go to our constituents, our listeners, our subscribers and readers of our media and say, we're going to make a business decision about you and hold them accountable.
Now, let's be clear.
And decide not to work with them.
He was coming to all of y'all.
Yes.
To apologize. So he knew y'all existed. So he reached out to black media for his apology tour,
right.
But he had not been spending money on the same black media.
Absolutely. And that was unacceptable. This is a grocery store that thrives because of the community here. We're, as I said before, we're the majority in the city. So to thrive in New Orleans, you have to make sure that the majority in the city is buying your products, you know, taking part in your business, bringing you their revenue and their dollars. So his success was built on that. But he's not the only one. This is a pattern across the board when it comes to businesses here. We first saw it and we see it in the regulated companies. As I said before, our energy company here, Entergy, our regional transit authority, AT&T, Cox Cable, all of these companies don't do business with black media, yet they thrive off it. Now, as you said before, Roland, in your tweet, and as you put out before, and as you said at the beginning of this segment, they will tell you we reach out to the black community, but they'll cite different media outlets. But we have to remember that those media outlets aren't owned by black folks. Those are large white conglomerates that are putting out black content, that are making money off of cultural appropriation, not appropriation, but just putting out our stuff, as you say. And they're making money off of it. But then they'll tell you that that's enough, that you should be thankful for that and yet spend no dollars with us. Well, you can make that business decision. But if you choose to make that business decision, we're going to call you out. And so we put together the Black-Owned Media Coalition to say that when we identify those companies, we will let our constituents know so that they can take their revenue elsewhere, so that they cannot contribute to something that is successful for you, but not successful for us. The economic power that we have in our community, we have to use that and exercise our right of self-determination. And we believe in our coalition that the 21st century social justice movement is economic development. And that's what we're all about.
For everybody who's watching, I need y'all to also understand this, because this happens all the time. Folks love to talk about Dr. King. They love to talk about what he and others did. They love to talk about the March on Washington. They love to talk about all of these different speeches. But I often say that the most important speech he gave was his last, on April 3rd, 1968. And I want y'all to listen, because again, if you go back and study that 43-minute and 16-second speech, Dr. King lays out the game plan for the future advancement of black people. He literally gives the marching orders for the future. This is Dr. King on April 3rd, 1968, talking specifically what Wendell and I are talking about 53 years later.
What we'll have to do is this: always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. Now, we are poor people. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Never stop and forget that collectively, that means all of us together, collectively we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. Did you ever think about that? After you leave the United States, Soviet Russia, Great Britain, West Germany, France, I can name others. The American Negro collectively is richer than most nations of the world. We have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. Did you know that? That's power right there if we know how to pool it. We don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We don't need any bricks and bottles. We don't need any Molotov cocktails. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country and say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. And we come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you are not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. So as a result of this, we're asking you tonight to go out and tell your neighbors not to buy Coca-Cola in Memphis. Go by and tell them not to buy Seal Test milk. Tell them not to buy, what is the other bread? Wonder Bread. And what is the other bread, come to Jesse? Tell them not to buy hard bread. As Jesse Jackson has said, up to now, only the garbage men have been feeling pain. Now we must kind of redistribute the pain.
That point, redistribute the pain, what he is outlining is exactly what we're talking about. These folks want to take and take and take from us, starve our black media. That's how we are unable to get information. So when we don't know what's happening at City Hall or county government or the state legislature because the mainstream media outlets are not covering it, when you only see a couple of black faces, when they're not hiring us, when they're not making us the president or a publisher of the paper, they're not making us the top editor. In essence, when they starve our black media, they actually are cutting off the flow of information, and so we are unable to not only feed ourselves, we can't feed our minds.
And that's exactly right, Roland. As I speak to you right now on the national stage, the local media didn't even cover my presentation at the City Council yesterday. Now, here I am, someone who's from New Orleans, of New Orleans, working around the world, exercising our right of self-determination and calling people to the carpet, but they didn't feel as though that was important enough. The same companies that we were calling out that are regulated, that body of the city council, it's their job to regulate these companies to make sure that our tax dollars are properly spent, can call companies to task for not being online for half of the time. It was a meeting actually about high energy bills that out of the blue hit people really hard in January, and they claimed that it was very cold. And they said, well, we have all of these programs to show you energy efficiency and bills subsidizing and all kinds of assistance. We just need to get the message out to the people. And the first thing I said in my presentation is, well, if you had come to the black media, purchased ads, put out a campaign, a messaging campaign with us, you would have gotten it to the people.
Oh, no. See,
you don't know how to do that?
No, Wendell.
We're going to rely on you to run a nuclear power plant but you don't even know how to get the message to 65% of the people in New Orleans who are African American. And here we are, a legacy black radio station, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about, but you don't know how to talk to us. That's a problem.
No.
That's a problem.
But here's what they do, Wendell.
Hold them account.
But here's what they do. They know how to reach us. They want us to run it for free.
Right.
They want us to run the press release, run PSAs. Can you do a mention? And so they know how to reach us. But what they want us to do, they want us to do all the work for free. They want to invite us to their Black History Month events, take photos, and put it on the photo page. They send stuff to your radio station. We named this African American to a position. Can they get a shout out on the station? Can you run the photo in the black paper? Don't none of that pay the bills. Don't none of that hire a staff. But when it comes to mainstream TV station, radio station, newspaper, website, they're shelling out dollars. And let me also remind our audience something. If black media does get money, Wendell, we ain't getting actually advertising money. They're giving us community relations money.
Right, to keep their license half of the time. But what we have to realize is that we have power within our community. We have economic power. We have an economic engine. I'm talking to you right now from Pontchartrain Park, a historic district in New Orleans, because in the 1950s, we exercised our right of self-determination by having access. This was the result of the civil rights movement, a black community that grew out of sustaining itself. And that Moses generation gave us, a Joshua generation, a clarion call and a mission to make sure that we use the knowledge that we have and our economic power to make sure that there's benefit brought to us. And those who do not accept that, who do not have our best interest at heart, we have to make sure that they are held accountable and that there's something that they have to pay. They have to have some consequences for those actions that are not in our best interest. And that's what we at the Black-Owned Media Coalition, Louisiana Weekly, the Tribune, New Orleans Tribune, Data News Weekly, and WBOK with Equity Media are going to do here in New Orleans. But Roland, I commit to you that we will join your effort nationally, because we want to know, we want you to know that this is something that's just not localized. This is a national problem, and the more, the merrier, the more strength and unity. And I join that effort with you tonight.
I want to show our folks this, and I've talked about this before. This was from 3 years ago, where the NNPA and those black papers are members of NNPA asked the Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton to have a federal study done on federal government media spending. Because in fact, when I saw your tweet, I immediately said, "How much is the city of New Orleans? How much are they spending media dollars?" And so this is the federal level, folks. Go to my iPad. The study was done over a period of 5 years, 2013 to 2018. The federal government spent $5 billion on media advertising. Of the $5 billion in 5 years, $51 million went to black media. That is 1%. And so what you're talking about there is, because you're talking about the businesses there in New Orleans. The first thing I said was, what's the city of New Orleans doing? Where are their dollars going? Where's the state dollars going? Because all of those agencies are spending media money. And again, because I've run 3 black newspapers, because I was news director, morning anchor at a black radio station in Dallas, because I was morning talk show host and midday talk show host at WVON Radio in Chicago, black-owned radio station, because I was the first editor of Tom Joyner's website, blackamericaweb.com, news editor of Savoy Magazine, worked at major broadcasting cable network for a special 13 years at TV One. So can't nobody talk to me about a black media experience when I've done it all. The fact of the matter is the government dollars also don't go to us. So we are taxpayers and we're not getting it back. And so then, Wendell, people then go, I guarantee they ask you, man, I can't hear your station.
Right.
Can y'all get bigger? Well, hell, we can't afford to buy another tower or extend our reach, or actually we can't grow our circulation, because if we had more dollars, we could advertise more, put up billboards, put up all kinds of different stuff to grow audience. And so that's how they choke us. So we never are able to build capacity because they keep the dollars from us.
And it's not a handout. That's the other thing. Those dollars that you're talking about coming from the government, that's our treasury. That's our money. So if we're only going to get 1% of that over the 5 years, let me pay 1% in taxes over 5 years.
Right.
You're not going to give me that rebate. So it is a demand and it's a necessity to make sure that we change the structure. It was very deliberately done. And in this time of reckoning, we have to understand that it's not about trying to convince people and try to make them understand what we're trying to do. It's really being just as deliberate as they are to depress and exercise us out of participation in the economic flow, to be just as deliberate to put us in the flow. Ultimately, we want it to be memorialized and legislated in law.
That's right.
That a percentage has to of spending has to go to our community, reflected in a percentage of what our community gives you in the Treasury. So that's the clarion call that we're going to put out here in New Orleans to our city government to make sure that here we are, a community of 65%, that we are going to have to mandate it in law to make sure that whenever you do a media spend, you're going to have to spend with black media by law, not just by desire. We're not just going to put people out and embarrass them or shame them to do business, because that's never worked before. Leave that to me as an actor to try to change somebody's hearts and minds. Let's change the law to make sure that we change business. I
often talk on this show about Dr. King's book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? And I tell all of my people, I tell all of my folks, I should get a copy of that book. And it's interesting because I literally put this book in my bag today. I'm always reading it, always referencing it, but I chose to put it in my bag today. And actually, this is before I even saw your tweets. If anybody wants to understand that King's speech, and if you want to understand how do we actually do what Wendell is talking about, what I'm talking about, you've got to read Martin Depp's book on Operation Breadbasket. Mm-hmm. The book is called Operation Breadbasket, An Untold Story of Civil Rights in Chicago, 1966-1971. Martin Depp, white pastor, was actually on the committee with Dr. King and Reverend Jackson. He was the one, he kept all the notes. And in this book, Wendell, he literally lays out their strategy. He lays out how they did it. He lays out how they were able to negotiate these MOUs. And he lays out, it was a 6-point plan. It was 6 steps. Now, for the folks who are listening, Reverend Leon Sullivan, if y'all don't know his name, Google him. Reverend Leon Sullivan, amazing brother. He did this in Philadelphia, told Dr. King about it. Then what he did was, Dr. King then said, come meet with SCLC to present to us. He presented to SCLC. King says, we're going to adopt it. That's how it became Breadbasket. These were the 6 steps. First, information gathering. 2, committee evaluation. 3, negotiation and education. 4, economic withdrawal. 5, agreement covenant. 6, monitoring. Now, why am I saying that? The economic withdrawal was 4th. Wendell, part of the problem for a lot of black folks, we want to yell boycott first. Mm-hmm. You're not saying boycott first. What you're saying is there's a process to this. We're going to give you an opportunity to work with us, to provide resources. But if we reach a point where you're obstinate, like they were in Chicago, then they went to the pulpits and told folk, do not spend money with these stores. That's what caused them to get to agreement. So there's a process this is right here. They laid out, it's a process that we have to follow so it's orderly and proper, so we're educating our audience about why we're doing it and how they should respond.
And that's exactly what we're doing here with the Black-Owned Media Coalition. We told them it's March 1st. take this month of February to figure out why you're not doing it, how you can change it. Look within your internal protocol and find out what's preventing you from working with black media, and then try to rectify it. But come March 1st, we're going to be calling people out. And so you're exactly right. There's the protocol that Operation Breadbasket put out there. That's why I'm a supporter of the Poor People's March. These are all tools in which we'll be able to have a tangible impact in our community and exercise our right. This is my mantra of self-determination. We have it within our power economically as well as politically.
Well, I certainly support what y'all do. You let me know when y'all want me to bring Roland Martin Unfiltered to New Orleans. If there's sort of a drive-in rally, we did a lot of those in Georgia covering politics. If there's something, a socially distanced, something, whatever, we'll be happy to come there, live stream it, put it out there, because I am absolutely committed to this as well. I am pushing the Biden administration. I push Senator Chuck Schumer. I'm sitting here. I just hit Nancy Pelosi's office again, trying to get her on this show. Her staff is tripping. I'm going to let her know. I've been telling the CBC that $5 billion over 5 years, that $1 billion a year, we must be getting that. Don't come talk to black media to run stories on COVID vaccine when y'all paying other people to run ads. That has to be our piece, because, we need black media having 50 and 100 employees. And we can have, I'm sure you would love to have a city hall correspondent, a state legislature correspondent, have people all around. You got to be able to pay them.
These, the right for these companies to merge and become these conglomerates that try to move companies like ours out. You know, you're going to approve those conglomerates, but then you're not going to come back and do business with us. So I agree with you. Not only is it going to happen in business, regulated and unregulated, but also in government as well.
That's it. Well, just let me know. I'm there with you, man. And again,
well, you have been a mentor to me. You are a media mogul in my mind, and it's evidenced by the product that you put out every day. And you are greatly appreciated, Roland. It's always an honor to be on your show. Thank you for giving us amplification of what we're doing here in New Orleans. And I just want everybody to know that my name is Wendell Pierce, and I'm the owner of WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Well, I tell you, in the words of Frank Lucas, I'm going to get that money.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.